Following last week's rebellion in Russia, the U.S. and its allies are working to respond to the largest threat to Vladimir Putin's reign since he came to power more than 2 decades ago. This as Putin's war against Ukraine rages on, with reports of at least 9 people killed in a missile strike in the eastern part of the country yesterday. At home, the White House announced another $500 million in aid for Ukraine. China, of course, is also keeping a close eye on all of this as Beijing steps up its own pressure campaign against Taiwan. For more on all of this, let's bring in United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Also with us, NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell. Thank you both for joining us. Secretary Blinken, given the war in Ukraine, how is the United States and NATO allies viewing this rebellion in Russia? How does it change the dynamic, the geopolitical dynamic? And also, did the U.S. know this rebellion was coming?
Well, first of all, Mika, good morning. Great to be with you. This is, and it remains in many ways, an extraordinary moment because I think it's further revealed the failure of Russia's war in Ukraine, both abroad and also at home. And we're seeing some cracks emerge, not just in what it's doing on the ground in Ukraine, but back toward Moscow. If you put this in perspective, it's really extraordinary. If 16 months ago, if we were sitting here, Russian forces were on the doorstep of Kyiv. They thought they were going to take the city. They thought they were going to erase Ukraine from the map as an independent country. Now, fast forward 16 months, and you've got forces heading toward Moscow, mercenaries of Putin's own making that he now has to be focused on and worried about. And almost in a nutshell, that epitomizes the failure that he's had in Ukraine. It's still very tough and challenging. The Ukrainians are just starting a counteroffensive to take back more of their territory. But across the board, this has been a failure for Putin, and we're now seeing internal cracks emerge, not just the external ones in terms of its prosecution of the war.
There's no question, Mr. Secretary, that Vladimir Putin's weakness and that of his military has been exposed over the last year and a half or so. But when you use the term cracks internally, what does that mean specifically? I think some people are skeptical that he would lose his grip on power in a country he has ruled for almost a quarter of a century at this point. When you talk about internal cracks, what do those look like, and how do they potentially knock him out of power?
Look, what we don't want to do is speculate about where this may go. And this is fundamentally an internal matter that the Russians and Putin are going to have to reckon with. But you had a direct challenge to Putin's authority from Prigozhin. You see dissension in the ranks, and it's not as if you need a satellite to figure that out. If you've got a social media account, you could see this debate, this argument going on inside of Russia for months about the prosecution of the war. Prigozhin himself questioned the very premises of the war, whether NATO or Ukraine presented a threat to Russia, which neither does. So that's what I'm talking about. Where that goes, when and how it gets there, that's a matter of speculation. We're relentlessly focused on Ukraine itself, making sure that it has what it needs to defend itself, what it needs to take back the territory that Russia seized from it.
Putin has effectively squashed any opposition to him over the years. Do you believe there are now forces inside of Russia willing but also able to push him aside and to have a regime change inside the country?
Look, these are decisions, these are choices for Russians to make, not for us to make. As I said, what we're focused on is Ukraine itself. But there's no doubt that what we've seen just in the last 48 hours are profound questions that Putin is going to have to answer, both questions internally. We've had a lot of questions he has to answer for externally. Look at where Russia is now as a result of this aggression. Weaker militarily, weaker economically. Its standing in the world has plummeted. It's managed to get Europe off of Russian energy. It's managed to strengthen NATO. We even have a new member and another new member on its way. It's managed to alienate virtually all of Ukraine and unite the country at the same time. So across the board, this has been a strategic failure for Putin. And to the extent that there are now cracks emerging internally, that only magnifies the problem he's facing.
Mr. Secretary, good morning.
Andrea.
Ukraine's counteroffensive has been a tough slog. President Zelensky has acknowledged that. Does a weakened Vladimir Putin and a divided Russian military help Ukraine, or does a weakened Vladimir Putin perhaps encourage him to be more aggressive and increase the assaults. He has superiority in the air, and there's a lot of damage he can do, including, of course, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Well, first, the counteroffensive is in its early days, and you heard the Ukrainian Secretary of Defense say just, I think, yesterday, that they have yet to commit the bulk of their forces to this effort. And there's no doubt that it's tough going because the Russians have had months and months and months to put in place defenses. But we just announced additional assistance to Ukraine yesterday. They have what they need to be successful. To the extent that Moscow is distracted by its own internal divisions, that may help. To the extent that the Wagner forces themselves are no longer on the front lines, that could help because they have been effective. They just literally throw people into a meat grinder of Putin's own making, but that's had some effect. So I think there's some opportunity here for Ukraine, but it is early days, and I think this will play out not over the next days, but over the next weeks and months.
So, Mr. Secretary, we all watched what happened in Moscow over the weekend. So did Beijing. What's your early assessment as to how China views what has happened there, this rebellion, because of their alliance, their tactic support for Russia to this point?
Look, Beijing has had to walk a very challenging line on this from day one. On the one hand, finding ways to support Russia, including diplomatically advancing its arguments, its false arguments around the world, and at the same time trying to seem neutral and trying to present itself somehow as a peacemaker. I think that's getting more and more challenging. Having said that, when I was in China, we had conversations about the Russian aggression against Ukraine. We agreed that it was something that we needed to keep talking about. There may come a point, if there is an opening for genuine diplomacy and negotiation, where China could play a positive and productive role. That's still, alas, I think, far in the future. But I think some of the tensions between the dual roles that China is trying to play are more and more apparent.